Hello everyone, my name's Jennifer Bell and I'm the author of books such as Wonderscape and the Agents of the Wild series and also the Uncommoners series. But today I'm really excited to introduce you to my new book, Legendarium. Legendarium is the story of three friends who first meet actually in Wonderscape. And they are blasted 400 years into the future once again, where a brand new in-reality adventure game featuring legends from across the universe is the new gaming obsession. But the friends soon uncover a sinister plot by a raider called Deadlock to recreate dangerous time travel technology. So with the fate of the universe in their hands, they must enter a treacherous sports tournament, which will take them from Viking battlefields to ancient lost cities and volcanic Incan tunnels. But can they stop Deadlock before time runs out? So that's what Legendarium is all about. My inspiration for writing Legendarium and also Wonderscape was to write a story that felt every bit as immersive as a video game. And I wanted to imagine how video games would evolve in 400 years' time. And I kind of did loads of brainstorming and I decided that probably virtual reality, which is an emerging technology at the moment, would be really old school. That would be old news. And people would actually be adventuring through in-reality adventure games, which are kind of like a cross between an escape room and a theme park and a video game. So they happen for real around you. Legendarium is inspired by my love of legends. When I was a child, I used to love reading stories about legends, and legends are stories that are so mysterious no one really knows whether they're true or not. So in Legendarium, you will come across some legends that you may be familiar with. So things like monsters and ancient sea creatures, lost cities, famous outlaws, famous warriors, famous legendary places. But you might find some legends in here that you have never heard of before. Maybe they're from different places in the world or different periods of time that you haven't looked into. So my favourite legend that appears in the book is a legend from the Philippines, and it's the Phantom City of Biringen, which appears out of the water on moonless nights. So you'll have to read the book to find out what happens when the main characters get to Biringen. Now I'm going to read from you the very beginning of the book, just the opening couple of pages to give you a taste of what Legendarium is like. The hot dog eating contest was going badly. "It's not funny," Arthur whinged, clutching his bloated tummy. "It feels like my stomach's about to explode." His friend Wren laughed and slid another hot dog across the picnic table on a plate. Ready to forfeit? She was much smaller than him, but dressed in her ripped black jeans, hooded tank top, and massive combat boots, she looked ready for battle. Her silky black hair was fixed in a high ponytail with a thick fringe covering half her face. Arthur doubted that his baggy shorts and the Mandalorian t-shirt were as intimidating, so he adopted his most threatening game face as he pulled the plate towards him. No chance. They'd wagered that if Wren ate the most hot dogs that afternoon, Arthur would be her spotter every time she went rock climbing during the rest of the summer holidays. But if Arthur ate the most, Wren would give him her copy of the latest Spider-Man game on Xbox, something he'd need 5 weeks of paper round money to be able to afford otherwise. "Can one of you please puke already? This is getting ridiculous," their friend Cecily complained beside them. If Wren had dressed for battle, then Cecily had styled herself for a photo shoot with a fashion magazine. Her amethyst purple braids had been twisted into an impossibly intricate updo, and she was modelling a vintage denim jacket and floaty maxi dress. Sat in her lap was a scruffy white terrier who yapped excitedly as Cecily unfastened the lead from around his red collar and then scampered off to the pond at the bottom of Wren's garden. "See, even clouds had enough." "It'll all be over when Arthur admits defeat," Wren promised, lifting her hot dog to her lips. But as she opened her mouth to take a bite, a splash sounded at the end of the garden. Arthur glanced at Wren's pond and spotted the tip of a stubby white tail disappearing below the strangely misty surface. Cloud? Cecily sprang to her feet. Cloud, be careful, you might not be able to swim. With the dog's lead flapping in her hand, she raced towards the bottom of the garden. Arthur felt way too full to run anywhere, but Cecily was right to be concerned. Although Cloud looked like a typical West Highland Terrier with a fluffy white coat, round face and pointed ears, he was, in fact, a very advanced robot or mimic from 400 years in the future. He'd been entrusted to their care by a 25th century inventor named Milo Hertz, and there was still so much they had to learn about him, including whether or not he could swim. With a glance at the back door to check all their parents were still inside, Arthur pushed himself up and hurried after Wren and Cecily. When they all got to the pond, the mist had dissolved and the water was still. A dragonfly darted over the surface, but there was no sound of Cloud anywhere. I don't understand, Cecily said. I saw him fall in. Arthur knelt down and thrust his arm in up to the elbow. Wiggling it around, all he could feel was slimy weeds. Maybe he jumped out and we missed it. Couldn't have, Wren said, nudging the pebbles at the water's edge with her boot. These are all dry. Cecily surveyed the rest of the garden. So then, where is he? Cloud, she called. Here, boy. And we'll leave it there. You can see if they find Cloud, if you continue to read on.